Yeah, we're just getting ready to go live, sweetheart. Just getting ready to go live. What? I look good. It almost looks natural, doesn't it? Like the dude from Office Space, his next door neighbor. Yeah, I think so. Always good. Oh, what a freaking exhausting game that was. Yep. Don't ask me how, because I still don't know. But
Hey, everybody. My God. Welcome. Welcome to the best post-game show for the best damn team in the National Football League right now, the Minnesota Vikings.
Get them up there, boys.
Oh,
We are pimping live.
I wish I had a hat. Chris has got the Jared Allen mullet. Drew's got the, I don't know, the Huggy Drew. Drew's got the Huggy Drew hat going on. The Vikings beat the Bills in overtime. My God. Somebody.
Josh Allen better have Drew's money. That's all I got to say. Josh Allen better have Drew's money.
I'm Ted. Drew's the pimp. Chris is Jared Allen. Ruby's doing all this in the background.
Guys,
you guys just talk. I can't even put a coherent thought in my head right now. Vikings win in a wild overtime game, 33-30.
Me not talk good football right now.
First off, I love the mullet. Chris actually looks good. You should grow the mullet out.
This looks natural, doesn't it? My wife's
convinced. Yes, it does. It does look natural. That was an NFL classic, boys. That's the best Viking game I've seen in a long, long time. And let me tell you, Ted, when overtime started, Toots took like 4 Xanax. She couldn't stand it, dude. She's popping the Xanax. I was thinking of taking one too, but man, what a game. So much to talk about with this game, but the Vikings did it. They did it.
You know, I was getting texts and messages and phone calls from so many people, and my standard pat answer to all of them has been, I'm sorry, I can't type right now because I'm simultaneously having a heart attack and a stroke.
Let's say hello to $10 chatters.
Yeah, so look,
a lot of happiness in the chat room, I'm guessing.
Let's get this going the right way. My name's Ted Glover. With me are Drew Bunning and Christopher Gates, my partners in crime with the Vikings Report Rewind. Welcome, and thanks for tuning in. Right now we've got about 65 people or so in the stream. I think that's going to go up a little bit as we continue. We're gonna give away. We might give away 33 prizes. I don't know. We're gonna give away at least 2 prizes. I know that for a fact. That's a hell of a
and a new car.
This is a 2-prize day for sure, minimum. Look, to get registered to be eligible to win a prize, just make a comment in the live chat. We got a live chat going on. We're up to 130 people right now already from the time I just started this. All you got to do is just make a comment. Ruby, our producer in the background, is gonna draw, or I'm sorry, is gonna spin the wheel of Toons' destiny at the end of the show. We're gonna spin a couple more times. Holy crap, man! 33-30. The Vikings are what? They only got 1 loss. Is it 7-1 or 8-1? I'm kind of drunk. I don't even know right now.
It's 8-1, Ted. You know
man.
What? I'm gonna start out with a little tune tonight. I believe in miracles. Where you from? You Viking thing, you Viking thing. And the first person that tells me who sings that song gets a mug.
Oh, well, there you go. First person that can identify the singer to that song gets a mug. Chris, go.
What band sang that song? Go ahead, Chris.
Ted wants to talk about a 2 prize minimum. It's damn near a 2 drink minimum to get into this thing tonight. Good Lord.
We are drinking tonight. We are.
I don't know what the hell we just watched. Honest to God.
We watched the best football game of the year so far in the NFL.
Not even close, Ted. By far.
From about the 2-minute warning onward, I've never seen anything like it.
That game won't be outdone the whole year. It won't be outdone. What a game. Ted Glover. I thought we lost that game like 9 times.
Do you guys remember
17?
There's Alex Martinez.
Do you guys remember I can't remember. It was like 2013, I think, or no, maybe it might have been 2011 when the year Adrian Peterson blew his knee out and Toby Gerhardt had to play, and the Vikings were playing the Ravens in Baltimore. It was late in the year, and it was a snowstorm, and like 5 or 6 touchdowns were scored in the last 3 or 4 minutes. You guys all remember that game? You know what I'm talking about?
Patterson had a long wide receiver screen touchdown.
That was 2013.
2013.
The year after the Adrian Peterson MVP year.
That game is here. I'm going to put that right on the bottom of the screen. That game is here. This game today is up here. That game was wild. There were so many postseason implications and questions that people were asking about the Minnesota Vikings that I believe the Minnesota Vikings freaking answered today, hands down. Drew, Chris, you got to talk for a minute. I'm going to pull up my notes and we'll get to the game in a minute. But I'm still up here right now.
Let's hear from the mullet first before I chime in.
This was. I can't think of a more. I'm sure people are going to bring up the miracle game and all that other stuff, but this, like I said, from about the 2-minute warning onward, when the Vikings got stopped short on the quarterback sneak by like 3 inches or whatever, and how the hell do you fumble the snap on the next? That's right. That's the one thing you need to do, is to make sure the ball gets into the quarterback's hands and doesn't wind up on the turf. But then you gave Josh Allen too much time, and they go down and tie the game again. And then, it was all. I don't know. This is on the short list of great regular season Vikings games, to be sure. Probably great Minnesota Vikings games of all time.
That seemed like a movie script.
Someone said it was literally the play from All the Right Moves.
Yeah, I tweeted that out exactly when that's exactly what it was.
I got 2 sets of notes going, one for if we lost, one for if we won, and I'm going, when you have 1st and goal from the 2-yard line 2 different times and you get 6 points against the Bills, you're not going to win.
Bad. Yeah.
So, you're not going to win. And that's what they had. They had that in overtime. That was going to be stuck in my head for a week going, you had 1st and goal to 2 with a chance to end the game and you didn't do it. Especially when the Bills drove it all the way down the field before the Peterson pick.
Okay, we got almost 400 people in the chat room right now.
Let's hear from somebody.
We got one from our Alex Martinez, a good friend of Drew's. He's a big Bills fan.
Yes.
Big fan of the show, though. He says, congrats, Drew and Ted, on the victory. I'd stay in chat, but I'm too depressed about Josh Allen regressing. The Bills didn't deserve to win, even if they pulled it out.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex. It's very magnanimous. I would agree. Good teams find a way to win on days when they're not good. I've said that about the Vikings all year. I would argue today the Minnesota Vikings were good. When you beat Buffalo, there was a statistic at halftime that said the Buffalo Bills had not blown a 14-point lead at home since like 1964 or like 1968. I was either not born yet or I was still in diapers the last time that happened.
It was like 52 in a row or something.
They have now. Assholes.
Woo! All right.
They turned the ball. The Bills turned the ball over 4 times. I know the Vikings didn't take advantage of all the turnovers, but yeah, they turned it over 4 times. And the Vikings turned it over twice, including the one that might have been the worst pass Kirk Cousins has thrown as a member of the Vikings. Yeah. But they overcame it because that's what this team does now. They were down 17 points in the third quarter in this one.
They weren't doing that last year, Chris.
No,
they weren't doing that.
No.
They're backs against the wall. You're in Buffalo, rookie head coach. You're down 17 in the third quarter, and they fought back, Ted Glover. They fought. They fought back.
There were like Chris said, there were like 2 or 3 different times I thought it's over with. They're not coming back. But the only way I can really kind of get a grip on this moment is to just sort of start talking about the game from the beginning. You guys good with that?
Yeah, first off, let me tell ESAT Nation to kiss my ass.
You can kiss my ass. This is a legit friggin' football team.
It all changes today. Go eat your dog piss sandwich somewhere else because we went to Buffalo and we won. ESAT, you're out. You're out.
Right. That's right. All righty. Well, before we get going, we got a couple more questions. Nicholas Rusin asked, how many chains, grills will Kirk have on the plane ride home? Did you guys see the movie The 300?
Yeah.
The guy Xerxes that was just like naked except with gold. That's going to be Kirk Cousins on the way home.
Oh,
Brad Moritz says, hey, maybe today's prize should be a defibrillator. And I don't disagree. Toots said it to me.
That's great. Toots, you hate the Xanax. Now you got to run the wheel later. You ready?
And this is one of the things that was kind of the theme heading into this game. Would Josh Allen play or would Josh Allen not play? He played, and there were 2 schools of thought on this. Right. Obviously, Josh Allen is the best the Bills have to offer. How will the Vikings do against that kind of competition? Versus, look, Case Keenum isn't bad, and I'd rather get a win than just measure up and see how poorly we do against Josh Allen. Were you guys wanting Josh Allen or Case Keenum before this game started, Chris?
Honest to God, I wanted them to put Josh Allen out there because if Keenum starts, and regardless when you play a team with their backup quarterback, regardless of what the results in, people can always kind of downplay it or whatever. It's like, yeah, okay, you beat the Bills, but they didn't have Josh Allen, or hey, you lost to the Bills and they didn't even start Josh Allen at quarterback. So I wanted Allen out there. I mean, I know that probably lessened the Vikings' chances of winning, but just for the kind of the mental, the psyche of the team, I think it's better for them to have gone out and beaten Josh Allen than to have gone out and beaten Case Keenum today.
Sure.
I agree. It's they didn't care who started. I mean, Keenum's not going to beat you with his legs as much as Allen is, but we beat him straight up, and it lets the team know they don't have that in the back of their head going, well, we beat the backup quarterback. Okay. They went into Buffalo and beat Josh Allen and the Bills with all their guys. So this is people need to realize how big of a win this is.
And Josh Allen was not hampered by injury. He did not appear to be hampered by that elbow at all.
That whole injury thing was bullshit, Ted. He was never hurt as bad as he was. That's all a lie. He wasn't.
All right, real quick before we get going, We got over 300 people watching. Again, if you want to be eligible for a prize or two, just make a comment in the live chat. Ruby's going to enter your name. If you are selected, we're going to spin a wheel at the end. Just make sure you understand, you know what this email is. Vikings Report with Drew and Ted at gmail.com. That'll be a way for you to contact Ruby to collect your prize if you win. All right.
You believe we won that?
I have no. So here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna kind of start from the beginning. The Vikings, the Vikings deferred. Bills get the ball. They go 3 and out, and the Vikings go 6 plays, 74 yards. 2 big catches by Justin Jefferson, including a 22-yard touchdown. And Justin Jefferson had the game of his life.
Oh.
Vikings are up 7-0, and that couldn't have been a better start for the Vikings, I thought.
Now they're good at getting touchdowns on the first drive. We know that.
Yeah. The second drive, Buffalo gets a big kickoff return, and like the Vikings defense just folded like a wet cardboard box. And then the Vikings offense turns around, and it's 7-7. Vikings offense turns right around, goes 3 and out. You're thinking, oh Christ, here we go.
Right.
But on that second drive, though, I want to ask you guys this. It was 2nd and 15. The Vikings made a couple of plays. They got to a 4th and 1 at the 34, at their own 34, and they decided to punt the ball. Me personally, I thought they should have punted, or I thought they should have gone for it, because this is one of those games where it felt like you were going to have to outscore Buffalo and not give up possessions. Were you guys good with the punt there?
I had no problem with them punting there. I mean, you're on your side of the field. If you don't make it, the Bills have just about no distance to get the ball into the end zone and whatever. If you're closer to midfield, then yeah, maybe you go for it. But no, I've got no problem with them punting the ball in that situation.
Drew?
I thought they should have went for it there. And then, as you're going to get to in a second, when they had it down there after the long kickoff return by Wang Chung, they got it down there, and I thought it was ridiculous they didn't take the 3 points. But that's probably further than when it was 17-10. I'm thinking, what the hell are they doing? But yeah. on that particular one you're talking about, I thought they should go for it, because you're Buffalo. Too. You got to take chances. We talked about that in the preview. You got to take some risks.
And it sort of felt like at that point in the game, the Vikes were going to be in trouble, because Buffalo went 10 plays, 70 yards, had another big run by Josh Allen. The Vikings had a problem containing him all day. It was 14-7. And then on the Vikings' ensuing drive, Kirk just absolutely airmailed a throw that was intended for KJ Osborne, who would have been open. And it sort of felt, and then Buffalo goes down and kicks a field goal. And to me at that point, I believe it was the second quarter by then, it sort of felt like the game was starting to careen out of control for the Vikings. Drew, did you think that or not?
Yes, and if I can remember the specific play, I wrote it down on a piece of paper, but it's probably in on the living room floor after the celebration. There was a time when it was 17-7. You know what's weird? You're up 7-0. You blink your eye, and Buffalo has 17. It's crazy. That's what they do, though. Mm-hmm. That's what they do.
And that's exactly what happened. And you're like, man, it seemed like the Vikings were playing this game about as well as you could.
There was a play, and maybe you guys can remember what it was. It was 17-7. They had all the momentum. We had a third down play, and I'm thinking, if we punt here, this is where the wheels could come off the whole thing. And they completed a pass. I can't remember who got it. It might have been Osborne or something, but I looked at Toonces and I said, that's going to keep us in the game, because they were ready to do that Bills thing when they run up a 30-point lead on you, and the Vikings kept the drive alive and went down the field. And I thought that was a really crucial play right there.
Chris?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly, what the situation was, but yeah, like you said, this is what the Bills do. I mean, they put up points in bunches, they put up points fast, and Singletary got those first 2 touchdowns, and I think the first interception came after the second touchdown, I believe. So yeah, I mean that's what the Bills do, and it was huge to have kept them to the field goal to make it 17-7 rather than 21-7, because if they get a touchdown there, then things start really getting out of control, I think. But the defense stood up finally.
The Bills offense reminds me of like an Alabama or Ohio State or Michigan, or one of those really good offensive football teams where when they turn it on, the opposing team can't turn it off. And it felt at that point like they may be turning it on, and the Vikings were in deep trouble. And they're down 17-7. But Kene Wangwu just kind of changed momentum a little bit, got a big kick return, got to the Vikings 45. They had 2 big third down conversions. They ended up with one was KJ Osborne down to the 2. Then Alexander Madison got blown up on first down. TJ Hawkinson got called for OPI, and first and goal from the 2 goes from second and goal at the 17. And that happened twice. It happened in overtime as well, and we'll get to that. And I thought, when you're first and goal on the 2 with Buffalo, you can't go second and goal from the 17 and end up kicking a field goal, which the Vikings did. It would cut it to 17-10, but it felt like that was like a huge missed opportunity. That, and also the one in overtime when JJ caught that ball on the 2 in overtime.
It was. I mean, those are the things that, in the past, you should probably come back to bite this team or whatever. And I believe it was the next drive that we're gonna get to here shortly that I thought was gonna kind of be the point where things got completely out of control for the Vikings. But we'll get to that here shortly.
Drew,
I just saw a message from Ryan Johnson, the host of Vikings Uncensored, which you can see on Fridays at 6 Central. And he wrote that best is required thing that you talked about in the preview, Ted. This is the epitome of it, this game. Be at the best when your best is required. And that's what the Vikings continue to do.
Yes.
But right in that drive, I mean, when it's first and goal at the 2 against the Bills, you got to get a touchdown. And as much as I've been praising O'Connell's play calling inside the 10, Chris Gates, he didn't have it today.
No,
he been a little conservative today. On first and goal with the Bills, Ted, play action. That's what the best down to pass on is first down when you're down there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided they did that pitch out to Madison where you got,
he got blown up, man.
Yeah, you got it. That's the down that they're not covering the pass on. So another learning process. Didn't cost the game.
So instead of 17-14, it's 17-10. But the Minnesota Vikings defense gave up 30 points today. And I Chris, if you could look up the total yardage given up, it felt like they gave up a lot of yards, especially to Josh Allen getting out of the pocket.
The Bills had 486 total net yards today. The Vikings had 481. So they were pretty much.
Wow! That 900 yards of offense in this game. It's a classic. Yeah. It's a classic.
Yeah. Damn near 1,000.
Chris, shake that mullet around. Let's see it. Come on. Let's see it. Give it. Oh, there you go.
I feel like a shampoo commercial.
Gee, your hair smells terrific.
Give us some of that mullet, man. Yeah, this is a crazy season, and I'm loving it.
So like 17-14 is a lot different than 17-10, in my opinion. But we talked about the Vikings defense gave up a ton of yards, gave up a ton of points, but man, they just made plays when they had to. I'm not going to say they were good, but they were situationally good. Like our friend Rhino says, they were at their best when their best was required. And that next drive, Josh Allen escaped the pocket. There was a fumble. Cam Bynum recovered it, and he returned it 40 yards all the way down to the Buffalo 37. And the Vikings turned the ball over on downs. They had a third down and 1. Oh, go ahead.
That was the Singletary fumble where they had to review it to make sure that he was down. Where this is the sequence I was talking about, because they got to 3rd and 1 in Buffalo territory. You need 1 yard, and this is where Drew talked about Kevin O'Connell's play calling today, and he didn't quite have what he's had. If you need to get 1 yard, run the damn ball at least once.
Right.
I mean, Dalvin Cook was having a decent game. Alexander Madison was having a good game, but they get to 3rd and 1 in Buffalo territory, and they call 2 straight pass plays. If you're going out of the shotgun on 4th and 1, you deserve to fail, and that's what happened, because you don't even have the illusion of a run at that point. But if you're looking at you have 2 plays to get 1 yard. One of those plays needs to be a run play.
Yes.
Honestly. Probably the third down play. The third down. That? Let me ask you guys, because I specifically wanted to ask both of you guys. I got it written in my notes. I got to ask Ted and Chris. Is that the drive where we went for it instead of kicking the field goal to make it 17-13?
I believe so. And then the Bill.
I was totally against that. I know you can't beat the Bills kicking field goals, but at the time, the way the momentum was shifting, Vikings just had a good drive. I felt you got to take the field goal. I was pissed about that. I was pissed about that.
Let me go back and look at the play-by-play and see how long the field goal would have been.
But I want to ask you guys how you felt about that.
I got it, Chris. I got it. It was 4th and 1 at the Buffalo 28.
So it would have been a 46-yarder.
It would have been a 46-yarder in that weather, and Greg Joseph missed an extra point, and I had no confidence in his ability to make a field goal from that range.
That dude shouldn't even be allowed back on the plane back to freaking Minnesota.
I thought it was closer. I thought it was closer. Sorry.
No, I was good with going for it on 3rd and 4th down. I didn't agree with the back-to-back pass calls. I would have at least run it on 3rd down.
Right.
If you get the 1st down, great. If not, you're probably, within an inch or two, but whatever.
We didn't even know what we were in store for at that stage of the game.
No. Well, we were kind of thinking the opposite because the Vikings turn it over on downs. Buffalo takes 3 plays to get down to the Vikings 15. Davis scores a touchdown, and all of a sudden it's like 24-10, and we talk about that. And the Vikings got the ball right before the half, didn't do anything with it, and it just felt like the Vikings. It wasn't going to be Minnesota's day. They got the ball coming out at halftime, and I thought, well, if they go down and score there, it's 24-17, and it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. And Kirk threw the absolute worst pass of his career as a Minnesota Viking on that opening drive of the 3rd quarter.
I have no idea where the hell he was throwing that. He must have thought that the defender was like one of his guys and was trying to pull one of those like Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, no look pass kind of things, because there wasn't a Vikings player within 10 yards of that pass.
So do you guys ever watch the show The Trailer Park Boys?
Oh, yeah.
There's a guy, I can't even remember his name right now, but he's got these really thick glasses.
Bubbles.
That's it, Bubbles. Thank you. Bubbles. I thought that throw was made by Bubbles. That interception. I'm like, because there was no Minnesota Vikings receiver within
my reaction to that. My reaction to that throw was like something the Trailer Park Boys would have said, because they swear a lot.
He panics, guys. He panics and throws passes like that. That was a panic, like flustered. That's one of the problems. And he's had that since the days at Michigan State. When he gets panicked, he throws bad passes. But unfortunately for us, now he comes back from them because he got a head coach that says, forget about that damn play. We're going to get to the next one. And he's coaching matters. The difference of Cousins this year is Kevin O'Connell.
Yes.
And not having a coach that hates your guts. Not having a coach.
After the interception, let's talk about this. We talked about the Vikings defense and how the Bills can put up points in bunches. In the second half of this game, that Bills offense put up 6 points.
Yeah.
6.
I mean, the Minnesota Vikings defense has been money in the second half, guys. I mean, it just has. So, God, where were we? So it's like it's
after the Kirk interception.
Yeah, it's 24-10. Hawkins got pulled for a concussion eval. There was a big 3rd and 5 completion that was nullified by this bullshit holding call on Christian Darrisaw. I mean, he absolutely just mauled his dude, and they called it holding. And so the Vikings have to kick the ball. Buffalo goes down, and it's 27-10, and you're like, God, the Vikings need a big play like right now, or this game is over. And Dalvin Cook delivered with an 81-yard touchdown run on 1st down, and all of a sudden it's 27-17, and you're thinking, hey, maybe
we're not out of it.
Just maybe this team isn't out of it.
That's probably the play of the game.
It is.
I think so.
It completely turned everything around. Well, they
were on their way to victory. They were on their way to victory.
It was the play of the game until Justin Jefferson did what he did in the 4th quarter.
There you go.
Well, that's the play of the game. That 4th and 18 catch. We can have a show just on that, Ted. That's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in 50 years of watching football. That is the most clutch thing. Amazing catch. Justin Jefferson is not from this planet. I can't believe the officials don't give him more love, because he's getting butt-boned every play, and they're not calling it. He's getting interfered with every play. And even when he's getting interfered with it, he still brings it down as a 2. Even when he's getting pushed around, he still brings the ball down. He's the best receiver in football, and we are going to win the Super Bowl riding on his coattails.
Okay. All right, we'll see. We'll see.
But the second best play of it was Cook's run. Cook's run it didn't feel like they had the momentum rolling. That and the Peterson interception in the end zone. We just had the big plays. We had big plays.
To me, it felt like the Vikings kind of just stopped Buffalo for a minute. And they got within 10 points. There's still a lot of time left in the 3rd quarter. There's a whole 4th quarter to play. And you're like, all right, They're not out of this. Because normally you would think they'd have to go on a long drive, eat up a whole bunch of clock, and now it's late third quarter and they're still down by 10, and you're just not thinking this is like the best situation for the Vikings. But that one play was huge. But then the Bills turned right back around. They had a 3rd and 15 and a 3rd and 16, and Stephon Diggs had that insane one-handed catch on 3rd and 15, and I thought, God, if you give up a 3rd and 15 and a 3rd and 16, it just might not be your day.
Right.
But then Patrick Peterson had that interception in the end zone, and you're like, well, maybe it is our day. I don't know.
Whatever that dude is doing, I need to figure out what that dude is doing, because he looks like he's 25 years old again out there.
Something's happened the last 3 weeks with that guy.
Really has.
Yeah, it really has. So then the Vikings get the ball, and I thought that was, we had that those both huge 3rd and 15, 3rd and 16 conversions. And I thought, well, this is kind of where Buffalo puts it away. And then Patrick Peterson had that interception in the end zone, and he returned it out to the 30. And Josh Allen went for the ball. He tried to punch the ball out, and it looked like he hurt himself. And that felt like another huge momentum swing for the Vikings.
He did. I thought he was kind of down on the field for a bit, but then he got up and walked off. So we thought, he might have re-injured his arm, because they said he tried to punch the ball out with his bad arm.
Yeah,
which is probably not wise, but no, he wound up being all right.
All right. Before we get any further, we got 250 people watching right now.
Yeah.
If you want to be eligible to win a prize, just make a comment in the live chat. If you win, Ruby, you'll just need to contact Ruby at Vikings Report Drew and Ted at gmail.com. Vikings Report Drew and Ted at gmail.com. He's Drew. He's Chris. I'm Ted. We are recapping probably the game of the year in the NFL so far. Vikes are down 27-17. Patrick Peterson just made this huge interception. There was a huge fourth and 1 conversion by KJ Osborne on that end around. TJ Hawkinson had a 4th and 6 conversion. Again, good teams make big plays when big plays are required. There was a big run by Kirk down to the 2 or down to the 3. And then, Drew, you've mentioned this on our show more than once. The goal line play calling by Kevin O'Connell, that halfback trap or whatever it was to CJ Ham was a phenomenal play call. Got the Vikings to 23-27.
If you notice on that play, they weren't keying on him because one of the defenders ran right by him.
Yep.
He could have made the tackle and he ran right by him. He
faked the end around to the wide receiver, gave it to Ham, who had a clean shot to the end zone, Chris.
And as Ted said, 27-23, because the ensuing extra point kind of bounced itself off the upright, which was
unbelievable, dude.
But see, if that extra point is good, then the end of the game doesn't play out the way it does. I mean, not that it makes it like any better at the time, because if it's a 3-point game, you're obviously kicking the field goal there at the end rather than having to go for the touchdown, and then we don't get the whole wild, crazy sequence of events that followed all that. So,
and I was going to ask you guys, did it feel like a blessing in disguise, Ted, that we missed that? It kind of forced the Vikings to be more aggressive. I told Toonces during the game, maybe that's not such a bad. At first, I was mad, and then I thought,
I said and I didn't tweet it out because I didn't want to jinx it, but I said to myself, the Vikings are going to win this game 30-27.
Yeah,
that's exactly what's going to happen. And then they went. Buffalo goes 3 and out.
Big stop right there.
Huge.
And they needed a 3 and out because of terrible clock management. The Vikings were down to 1 time out there.
Yes.
So if they hadn't gone 3 and out there, they would have been hosed.
There was 4:34 left, and I was thinking all they need to do is get a couple first downs, and we're dead.
And I want to say this: I thought the Minnesota Vikings offensive line pass protection was pretty solid for most of the day.
I think so too.
And I thought Blake Brandel did a pretty decent job against guys like Ed Oliver and that Buffalo defensive line for the most part.
Can you keep Ingram from stepping on Cousins' feet?
No, I mean, whatever, Ed Ingram. So the Vikings have, and here comes the play of the game. And I said the Vikings had played pretty well offensive line pass protecting until right after they forced Buffalo to go 3 and out down 27-23. They had back-to-back sacks. They gave up back-to-back sacks. Blake Brandel gave up one of them, and it was like 4th and a mile. and Justin Jefferson makes what has to be considered the catch of the year. We talked about that Stephon Diggs one-handed catch. Justin Jefferson out-Diggs Diggs on that catch, and that might be, we were talking about this amongst ourselves before we came on the air, folks, that might be the most incredible catch we have ever seen a Minnesota Vikings wide receiver make.
It is, and Ted and I talked about before Drew was on the line here. We talked about the Thanksgiving game back in 2000 where there was a play where it looked like Dante Culpepper, as Ted put it, was going to try to throw the ball into the 8th row of the seats, and Moss was running down the field, and Moss went from going full speed to just a dead stop, like right at the end line of the end zone, and managed to. This catch, I don't know degree of difficulty. I don't know what the scoring system is on this or anything like that, but that catch, one-handed with a guy hanging on you, and he basically had to take it away from the defender.
And the Bills defender had both hands on the ball. He did.
That might be. Not. The miracle catch is in a category all by itself, just because of what it wound up giving the Vikings and whatnot.
Yes,
but this is right there. It's right there.
Drew, where are you on this catch in Vikings history in terms of degree of difficulty or big moment or whatever?
That is the greatest catch in Vikings history.
I will say
bigger than Ahmad Rashad. It was bigger than Rashad because let me tell you, it's bigger than OBJ, Stephon Diggs. OBJ snatched and pulled it in. If you look at that replay of what Jefferson had to do. He not only had to catch it, he had to fight it hitting the ground also.
Yeah, he did.
Twice as tough as what those other guys snatch it, bring it in. There's your completion. He had to do double duty. He had to catch it and then keep that ball from hitting the ground. I've been watching football 52 years. That's probably the best catch I've ever seen. And I'm not over-exaggerating.
Yeah. It very well could be.
That was the most amazing catch I've ever witnessed.
And it sets up, what we thought was the moment.
I thought we were done there. 4th and 18.
Before we go any further, Ferjo from Sweden checking in. Says Happy Father's Day, SKOL.
What's that?
SKOL, Ferjo. Vikings have a fourth and goal from like the half-yard line. And the Bills stop Kirk. And I thought he was in. I thought he was too.
He was in. He was in on the second effort. He was in.
And I thought the sneak was the right call. And it felt like, God, hell of an effort.
Ass officials.
I thought Cousins kind of crowd surfed a dude into the end zone.
He did.
I thought he did too.
He had on the replay to do that.
He didn't hit the ground. I thought they were going to reverse it for sure. What a horrible decision. He made it. Mm-hmm. He was in. Although I'm not going to run a guy like Cousins when the game's on the line. I'm probably going to hand it to Cook.
But then as if the game wasn't crazy enough by that moment.
I gave up, Ted. I'll be the first to admit. You can all hate me. Send your hate mail to me. I was done. I went to the bathroom and I said, "That's it."
Oh, I thought it was over.
I thought, I did too. But the very next play, Josh Allen, and for as good a quarterback as Josh Allen is, how do you not secure the frickin' snap, man? Honest to God.
That's your one job in that spot. I mean, you have to get the ball first. I mean, I understand the potential fear of a safety at that point, but you still have to get the ball. And even if you do wind up taking a safety, you're still up by a point there. And the Vikings still have to march most of the length of the field to get into range to attempt a field goal. But yeah, your first duty in that spot is to secure the football. And Allen, for whatever reason, didn't do it. I mean, good for the Vikings, bad for him, obviously, but dang.
First off, you guys both need to know, Ted, Toonces did not give up. When I went to the bathroom and I said it's over, she said, "No, it's not over. We're going to come up with a big play." So some credit needs to be thrown Toonces' way.
Okay.
Now.
That works.
But I was thinking when I came back out and was talking to her, I said, I'm shocked they didn't take the intentional safety. That's what I would have done.
That's what I would have done. And then kick it and make the Vikings try and kick it.
Right. I was shocked that they didn't do that. And I'm going, McDermott, are you on meth? What are you thinking, brother?
Because before it was ruled a touchdown, I thought they had tackled Allen in the end zone for a safety.
Okay.
I didn't see the beanbag come flying out as a fumble until later, and then Eric Kendricks falls on it for a touchdown, and holy crap. And then so the Bills get the ball back, and I'm sorry. I thought that Gabe Davis catch should have been reviewed, and it wasn't.
It wasn't a catch.
I didn't think it was. The Bills go down, kick a field goal, kick a field goal. It's 30-30, and we go to overtime. The Vikings drive down once again.
Ted's cracking another beer.
Boys, I put the beer aside and went. I called a dude that might know a Coke dealer. and so again, but again, Justin Jefferson gets a 1st and goal on the 2. And they piss it away, and they have to kick a field goal where a touchdown would have ended the game. And now we have to sweat it out. The Bills going down the field. But once again, Patrick Peterson makes a hell of an interception. The Vikings win the game 33-30, and they are now 8-1. Can you guys believe it?
No, they pulled that one out of the depths of nothing, but they've been doing it all year. And if you're not a believer at this point, you're just a hater. I mean, they did not quit. 27-10, they fought back and they won the game.
You guys talk amongst yourself for a minute. I will be right back. I got something I got to take care of real quick.
Hey, Chris, I want to talk to you about that last Buffalo drive.
Okay, go for it.
We took the lead 33-30.
Yep.
36 seconds left, and I'm at the top of my lungs thinking, all you have to do is set your defense up on the sidelines and funnel shit back into the center of the field, and time's going to run out, or they're going to be about at midfield with one play left. It takes about 12 to 15 seconds to set the ball, get the offense, even if you spike it. Some reason Donatel was letting them run these 10-yard out patterns to the tight end and kept letting them get out of bounds. And I'm looking at Ruby going, how the hell can Donatel be running this defense right now? That's the worst. That was going to be why we lost the game. That was going to be what I pointed to as 36 seconds. They ran like 6 plays in 36 seconds, bro. And I wanted to ask you about that.
Those last couple of defensive possessions for the Vikings were a disaster until the Peterson interception in the end zone. Because
why were they letting those completions go out of bounds? I don't get it.
I have no idea. I mean, like you said, you just got to make one tackle. Clock keeps running. Got to reset the ball. Got to get everyone set. Got to get everyone on the same page. I don't know what the.
You set your corners up wide.
Yeah.
And force them to go back into the middle. Force them to. And you tackle them one time, that's like 12 seconds. They're not going to have time to get it down to the 20. And I was beside myself thinking, I wanted to ask you that.
Half the time, I don't know what the hell this defense is doing, because, I mean, Josh Allen on that drive in overtime kept just constantly running the ball. I don't know how many yards he ran for in the game. Let me pull up the old stats page here.
They got their shot in overtime, Chris. We gave up like 40 yards in the first 2 plays to Allen.
Yeah, he had 84 yards rushing on the game, and like 30 of them came on those first 2 plays in overtime.
Hasn't he burned us enough all day? I mean, you got to cover that, man.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, it's just
Allen is a weapon. Allen is a weapon, but that overtime, Vikings defense in overtime had me shaking my head, and I'm going, they fought too hard to lose the game because Donatel can't set guys up on the sideline to funnel them back into the field. You tackle them one time, they're going for a Hail Mary.
And it seemed like that overtime series?
No!
Are the end of the game before overtime?
Yeah, no, the defense in overtime after we took the 33-30 lead with 36 seconds left.
Yes.
They kept throwing these out patterns and getting 10 yards at a time and stopping the clock. You can't let them stop the clock. You're playing the clock. You set guys up on the sidelines. Guy catches a pass. You force them to stay in. You tackle them in bounds because there's no way you should have 6 plays in 36 seconds. You shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't.
And I was thinking, what is Donatel doing? Is that guy? I don't know. I don't want to bring the mood down because I'm glad we won, but that's just like, whoa! I was surprised that we weren't doing a little bit different defense there, Ted.
A couple questions for you guys. How are we feeling about KJ Osborne and Adam Thielen as wide receivers? 2 and 3.
I mean, I think you mentioned it somewhere that Thielen just doesn't look like Thielen at this point. And I thought I saw Judd Zolgad say something to somebody during the game that Thielen, I believe the words he used, that Thielen is nowhere near healthy at this point, which is bad. I mean, Osborne especially last year, Osborne looked like he was developing into at least a wide receiver 3, but
Yeah.
he had how many targets today? He had 11 targets today, and he had 4 receptions for 35 yards. If you're going to get targeted 11 times, you can't have that. I know Cousins airmailed the one that wound up being intercepted and whatnot, but I mean,
and that would have been a catch. I mean, in all fairness, that would have been a catch. That was just a terrible throw by Kirk.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, the Vikings are gonna, and I don't know where they pull it from necessarily, but they're kind of stuck with it for this year. But beyond this year, they're probably gonna have to draft a wide receiver, because this is gonna be the first off season where they can talk contract extension with Justin Jefferson. And the contract extensions with Justin Jefferson are just basically going to be Rob Brzezinski sliding a piece of paper over to Justin Jefferson and saying, "Here, write a number," and we'll work from that. They're going to have to back an armored truck full of money up to that guy's house, because he's going to be worth every penny.
And they need to pay every single cent he wants.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
So, yeah, like the thing with Adam Thielen for me is if he's healthy, I think he's cooked. I mean, he's not getting separation. I think he had one catch where he was sort of wide open, and I think that might have been more of a busted coverage than anything else. The Vikings, I think, need 2 things in the coming weeks to get better, or it needs to be addressed in the offseason. I still think it needs to be addressed. Wide receiver and linebackers. I thought Eric Kendricks did not play well today. I didn't think Jordan Hicks has had a fairly decent kind of up and down year, but I don't think he played well today. The Vikings defense, I don't want to say is problematic, but they had a problematic day.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with that.
They're also playing the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, I know, and you can't defend one-handed, 25-yard catches on 3rd and 16 or whatever it is. But God, it just felt like there were 2 glaring areas of need for the Vikings today that showed up against a really good football team in Buffalo, and that they have got to have another receiving option besides Justin Jefferson. Now, I think that's the primary thing. And I don't know about you guys, but I would not be opposed to seeing Jalen Reagor mixed into the offense more in the coming weeks. Drew, do you think that might be worth something to look into or not?
Yeah, I think that the thing that the Vikings offense is missing is the 9 routes, is stretching the ball deep, throwing deep passes. Even if you don't complete them, you got to keep the defense honest. In Osborne's defense, he got 11 targets today. Osborne's biggest problem coming up till now is he's not getting enough work. He comes up with huge catches when we need them. I think today only getting 4 catches on 11 targets is kind of an anomaly. I think he just needs more work. I think we should throw more to him. And in terms of Thielen, we're used to seeing Thielen catch that ball and make a move and get 18 yards.
Yeah.
He has no yak left. He's more of a possession guy, but he's a good possession guy. He's a smart receiver. He's the smartest receiver we have. He may not be the most talented, but he knows you catch a ball and make a move and get out of bounds. He's a smart receiver. He just, every time he catches it, I think he's going to get hurt every single time. But, you take Jefferson off this team, the Vikings are easy to defend.
Yes,
easy.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
They, outside of Jefferson,
right,
the only playmaker the Vikings have is Dalvin Cook, and it would be
right.
very kind of not as bad, but kind of reminiscent of the Adrian Peterson era of Vikings. Although Kirk is a better quarterback than guys AP had, and Bollinger and Christian Ponder and Tavares Jackson and those dudes.
Ted, it would be Michigan. It would be Michigan with Corum. They have no wide receivers, but it's all Corum. That's what it would be.
All right,
you take Jefferson out of there.
Don't mention that team up north. Just don't mention them. Don't mention them.
So how much of that burden do you think that TJ Hawkinson is eventually going to take?
I think the Vikings are doing a good job of incorporating TJ Hawkinson. I really do. But and for as good as TJ Hawkinson has been in the short time he's been here, I strongly believe the Vikings need another deep threat wide receiver guy to complement Justin Jefferson. Because if you have that guy, that makes Hawkinson that much more effective. Because if you eliminate, like if you could double Jefferson, and now like really your only receiving threat is either maybe Dalvin Cook out of the backfield or TJ Hawkinson. You saw on those short patterns and a couple times just Kirk had to bail out and just dump it off to a guy, and it was Hawkinson. Unless Hawkinson is 14 or 15 yards downfield, you can I think do a good job bottling him in. They need a guy on the outside that's going to stretch the field like Drew said and get, it's going to be a threat 15, 20, 25 yards down the field, other than Justin Jefferson, who's phenomenal in that regard.
The one thing that stood out to me today is the Vikings don't get enough chunk yardage. And I know Cook ran that 70-yard play or whatever. All in all, they don't get enough big plays. They don't. No. And you watch Buffalo. Some of those drives, Ted, they're moving down the field in like 4 plays.
Yeah.
Over and over again. It takes them 4 plays to get into the red zone because they're attacking all the time and they have the deep threats to do it. But I would like to, if the Vikings could incorporate a deep threat and get the safeties to play back more, man, they're going to be, that would help a lot.
Definitely.
Drew and I on our weekly show, we give people who say they're going to sign OBJ or they're going to sign this guy or they're going to sign that guy. JC Treader was a name we just shredded people over. Honestly, at this point, I don't know. I know the Vikings have very little cap room to work with, but I would not be opposed to going out to get OBJ right now. I really
is he a deep threat though? After all these injuries, is he a deep threat?
I don't know that he's a deep threat. I think he is. But he's also a guy that you have to account for, because even if he isn't a deep threat, if you throw him the ball, he's probably going to get open on a deep in or a curl or a dig or whatever the route is. OBJ is one of those guys that can get open and get separation, and Adam Thielen is not that guy right now. And if Adam Thielen isn't that guy, he isn't that guy because he's old, or is it because he isn't that guy because he's hurt? If he isn't that guy because he's hurt, they need to sit him for a game or two, let him heal up, and put in Rieger, or bring up another guy. Chisholm, I don't care, but Thielen is going to be needed as we get down to these later games in December and January, and then the playoffs.
Give Rieger some time. Give Rieger a couple snaps.
I'm all about it. I'm absolutely all about it.
Yeah, I agree. Although I think OBJ. Thought I saw something about he had a list of teams he was kind of looking at, and the Vikings weren't on it. It was like Dallas and a couple other teams.
He can go to hell.
Yeah. If he doesn't want to be here, whatever.
Then OBJ can eat a bag of Gallahorns. That's what OBJ can.
You know what? He'll watch that game today and he'll go, "Oh, I want to be on the Vikings." I'm telling you. If he watches that game today, oh yeah, now I'm interested in Minnesota. They're a real deal. I mean, that's how that guy works. Who's ever doing good at the time? I don't want to deal with OBJ.
All right, so we're gonna spin the wheel here in a minute, but if you want to get in on a chance to win a prize, just go ahead and make a comment in our live chat right now. We got over 135 people watching still. Cool. Thanks so much for joining us. We've had a lot of great comments. I've been trying to monitor them, but it's been crazy. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this.
Is it lots of positivity?
Yeah, lots of positivity.
Nobody named my song yet? I believe in miracles.
I don't know. I didn't see.
Oh, where you from?
Yeah. So, anyways, a couple more minutes, and then we'll do a drawing for 2 prizes, because this is a 2-prize 33-30 overtime victory in Buffalo against the Buffalo Bills.
Huge.
A team most people thought were going to go to the Super Bowl this year. Chris, put this game, put a bow on this game, can you?
That's impossible.
No, it really is. I mean, we talk pretty much every week about how the Vikings are a roller coaster, how, they start off fast and then they just sort of disappear for like a quarter and a half or 2 quarters. And then they get that, this roller coaster, like everything happened like in the last 2 minutes and overtime. Like from the Jefferson catch to Cousins getting stopped on the sneak to the fumble on the next play to the Bills going down and tying it to the Vikings getting the go-ahead field goal and then Patrick Peterson with the game clinching interception. That we've all been watching football a long time, and that there are not a lot of regular season games that were more insane than this one.
Drew, what was the correct answer to your I believe in miracles?
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate?
Hot chocolate was the originator of I believe in miracles. Where are you from?
I think we already gave that one away, didn't we?
Did we? I don't know.
Marti?
I just gave the answer away?
All right. Drew,
the name of the band was Hot Chocolate. Yeah.
Drew, you put a bow on this, and then we'll do our two drawings, and we'll call it a day.
Oh, how do you put a bow on this, Ted? It's the Vikings do it again. They come up with the key play at the key time. Josh Allen is a hell of a quarterback, and I must say, in terms of seeing pocket pressure, I've watched Josh Allen a lot, but today I watched him really intensely in there. He is the best since Steve Young at feeling pressure. That guy's awesome.
Yeah.
Feeling pressure, getting out of the pocket, but the Vikings dealt with it. And for as good as he is, he kind of screwed this game up with his picks and his fumble. And as much as he did good, Ted, he kind of ruined this game for the Bills. He did.
That's a great point. And let me, before we wrap this up, I want to come back to Chris on this too. But Drew, I watched that Sunday night game against the Packers. And the Bills, you and I talked about this. The Bills looked eminently beatable for a good part of that game. It feels like, I don't want to say Josh Allen is regressing, and I'm not even going to try and say he's a bad quarterback. But where people criticize Kirk Cousins for making bad plays at the worst time, and Kirk had a couple bad picks today. I'm not going to say he didn't.
Sure.
So did Josh Allen. Josh Allen was not this unbeatable, Muhammad Ali, Bill guy today. He wasn't. He just wasn't.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's been like this mystique built up around Josh Allen, but he looked eminently beatable today, and he's looked eminently beatable more than once this season.
No, he had a great game. I'm not,
he did.
But he made some big mistakes.
He did.
I will say this to the Vikings. I will just say this. Get on board with the Vikings, because what they're doing weekly, they're facing adversity, and they're on the sidelines, and they're talking to each other. Za'Darius talking to Hunter, talking to Kendricks, Jefferson's talking to Cousins. What they're saying is, we need to pull this game out, and they did it again. Pretty soon you do it again and again and again and again. Pretty soon that goes from we are going to pull this out from we need to pull this out. I'm telling you, it's a learned thing. It's expected after a while. And this team is, call them cardiac, call them what you want, but they are starting to believe, Ted, and they pulled this. This is a big move today for the Vikings, O'Connell, the whole team. Just a great win.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, like Drew said, once you do something enough times, it becomes a part of actually who you are as a football team. And we've said it before, a Mike Zimmer led football team from the last couple of years doesn't pull this off. They don't even come close. I mean, this is a team. They got down after the Cousins pick in the third quarter. They got down 27-10, and you had brought up the stat where the Bills hadn't blown a 14-point lead at home in like 45 years or whatever the heck the time frame was. And, they did it. And that's what they've been doing all year. I mean, this is 7 one-score games in a row, and they're 7-0 in those one-score games. I mean, that like Drew said, this is something that you just learn. The more and more you do it, the more you do it, the more you say to yourself, we can do this. And now it's going to be more of a surprise when they don't do it,
right?
As opposed to being a surprise when they do.
Very good. That's great. Great point.
So,
what do you think, Ted? Ted, give us your Glover breakdown, brother.
I've said this, I think, either last week or the last couple of weeks. Drew, when you and I were growing up watching
the latter half of the Purple People Eaters days.
Right.
You came into a game expecting the Minnesota Vikings to win
every week.
There was not a team in the NFL that matched up better than the Vikings very often.
Nope.
That's changed with free agency. You can't keep the same guys around for 10 or 15 years. And both you guys hit on what I think is the key. The Minnesota Vikings have gone from I hope we pull this out to I think we will pull this out to we will pull this out. We will win.
Yes.
And it's this attitude that I don't think you can coach. I mean, coaching has a lot to do with it, but the culture and the philosophy and what you say day in and day out in the building when the cameras aren't on and nobody's watching fucking matters.
Yes.
It just does.
Yes.
Pardon my language.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
But it does. And when you go around berating players and making them afraid to make a mistake, it plays out in the game. When you go around telling players, we're going to make a play, Greg Joseph, you're going to make a play even after you've missed an extra point, or Kirk Cousins, you're going to make a play even after you've thrown 2 interceptions, or Zadarius Smith, you're going to make a play even after Josh Allen has run and escaped the pocket 4 or 5 times. Guys believe that, man. They do. And at some point you have to give credit to Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and what they're building because look, you can say what you want. If this team doesn't play, they haven't played a full game and they still haven't.
Right.
when you put up 33 points on the road to Buffalo and you haven't played a good game or a complete game, you're a good friggin' football team, man.
Yeah.
You're a good friggin' football team, and you're now 8-1, and you're the talk of the NFL next to Philadelphia.
People were saying the only way the Vikings win if they play a clean game, no mistakes. They made a bunch of mistakes today, and they still won, Ted. And they still won.
And they made Buffalo make more mistakes.
Yes.
And they made Buffalo make mistakes when they had to make mistakes. And the Vikings took advantage of it. And if you want to say now that
I don't want to see it.
If you want to say this isn't a legitimate football team, just shut
the
hell up, man.
You know what? If you're going to make a post, if I go out there and look at my computer and I see a post, the Vikings are more lucky than they are good, you know what? Go to hell. Because it's 8-1. We went to Buffalo. We won the game. I know Kirk is kind of a hot and cold kind of guy. He's kind of bipolar as a quarterback. But they're figuring out how to get it done, Ted. You said it perfectly, Ted. I mean,
but I will say, Kirk airmailed some throws.
Well, sure.
Once again, when Kirk had to make a throw, he pretty much made the throw. He just did.
And it's that thing that Kevin O'Connell said a couple of weeks ago that we keep coming back to: be your best when your best is what is required.
I think
that's what this team has done.
A lot of this has to really go to Patrick Peterson the last 3 weeks.
It does. 2 interceptions. You can't deny that as well.
I think the roster and all the guys and both sides of the ball are playing off his energy, saying, we're going to win. We're going to win this game. I think Patrick Peterson is a big part of what we're doing right now. I do. And I ripped him 3 weeks ago. I was wrong. He's on. He's on.
Yeah. All right. Ruby, are you around here somewhere? Are we ready to spin the wheel twice?
Yeah.
We are ready to spin the wheel twice.
Hey, wait. Should we spin it 3 times for the 3-point overtime victory? It's up to you guys. I don't care.
It's up to Tootses. Tootses runs the show, Ted, not me.
You're right. Tootses, what are we going to do? Twice or thrice?
That works for me. 3 times is good.
3 times. 3 spins, 3 winners. Let's go.
We have a ton of people on the wheel again.
Fantastic. I love you, Ted Glover. Ted Glover's
fantastic.
Good host.
Wait, hold on. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Just give me 1 sec. A couple more people just came on.
Oh, okay.
I believe in miracles.
If anybody's wondering, Dallas just scored. They're about ready to tie it up with Green Bay. It's going to be about 14-14.
Great. I was taping the game. Thank you.
I'm sorry. No, Dak just threw an interception, maybe. I'm not going to tell you what happened.
Guys,
put a spoiler warning on that, Ted?
Chris Gates and Ted Glover. We are 8-1 right now.
8-1, and no matter.
I am so happy.
Look, Philadelphia is still undefeated, and they're the team to beat. But there has been so much growth in this team because in week 2 they had the same set of circumstances against Philadelphia on Monday night, and the Minnesota Vikings crumbled. They were down what were they down at halftime against Philly on Monday night? 24-0.
No, it was 24-7 because nobody scored the second half.
24-7. They were down 27-10 on the road, nationally televised game against Buffalo, and they came back and won.
Why? What is the comment? What is the denominator for getting us not giving up, not pulling a Zimmer and getting us back in the game? What is it, Ted? Tell me what it is, because they're doing it.
Kevin O'Connell. Because in week 2 they were I hope or I think we can pull this out. They have gone from that in week 2 to we will pull this out now. And if you watch those post-game locker room speeches by Kevin O'Connell, that's all him telling these guys, look, we never give up when we play our best when our best is required.
Right.
They needed to hear that because this is a good football team, and they can do some serious damage, man. I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it.
Absolutely.
All right. Ruby's got the wheel spun up.
Holy shit. Look at all those names on there, Ted.
We are going to spin 3 times. We're going to give away 3 prizes today. If you win, hit up Ruby at Vikings Report with Drew and Ted at gmail.com. Go ahead, spin it, Rube.
All right, here's the first one.
I like the sound.
Feels like Wheel of Fortune, doesn't it?
No, it totally does. Who got it?
CJ's 8480.
There we go. CJ's 8480. You are the first winner. Vikings Report with Drew and Ted at gmail.com. Hit her up. Ruby will send you a link to our Vikings Report prize vault. Go ahead for the second one, Ruby.
All right, number 2.
Good job, CJ. Wait.
It's an invisible wheel.
It's an invisible wheel. What happened?
Yeah, I know.
Oops.
Thomas Hendrickson. There we go.
Thomas Hendrickson.
There we go.
Thomas Hendrickson is right in the running. Ted, he's in the running for our fantasy football
is he really?
contest. Yeah, he's tied for first in the No One Cares About Your Fantasy Team. He's tied for first in that.
All right, Thomas, congratulations. Go ahead and hit up Ruby, Vikings Report, Drew and Ted at gmail.com. One more spin.
Good job, Thomas.
A non-invisible wheel this time. Very nice.
The wheel is now visible.
Is it?
Nick Howard. Our buddy Nick Howard. Congratulations, Nick. You know the drill. Get a hold of Ruby. You're not our first time prize winner.
No relation to Mo Howard, Ted.
No relation to Nick Nolte either.
Well, their mugshots might be similar.
What a great! Is this a great day, guys? This is a great day. This is a day we've been waiting for. Sitting through all that Zimmer bullshit, waiting for.
I'm gonna rewatch this football game.
I am too.
God, that was just a hell of a game, man. I mean,
classic game,
all-time Vikings classic. It has to be. All right.
When Josh fumbled that ball at the goal line, I was thinking, that's the football gods going. The Vikings are due.
That's usually the stuff that happens to us and not for us.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right, Drew. Any last words?
The Vikings are bringing it, and they got to. They're going to keep moving one game at a time. I think. I don't really know what to make of this team. I mean, I still have, back of my mind reservations about what's going on, but 8-1. I'm enjoying the journey, Ted. I'm enjoying.
I am too.
And when it was 27-10, I was thinking, they're probably not going to win, but they gave a gamer effort. They weren't blown out, and they came back and what an exciting football team. This is an exciting football team to watch. And
it is.
I'm not going to go ESAT. ESAT can kiss my white ass. I am going to enjoy the Viking season as it goes right now. Go Vikings. Thank you for joining us in the chat. And we are moving forward at 8-1.
Drew or Chris.
Yeah, I mean, this is an exciting football team to watch. I mean, we've done, 7 victory Sunday, victory Monday shows in a row now. Every cardiologist in the Twin Cities metropolitan area is booked for the next month and a half. So it's good for their business. But this nobody can call this team fraudulent anymore. I mean, if you're, like you said, if you still don't think this team is good and that they're just lucky, you haven't been paying attention for the last 7 weeks, because this team has gotten better. I mean, maybe the first couple times it was lucky, but like we keep saying, now it's expected. And so this is something we're going to see going forward. Another tough one next week, and then a quick turnaround for Thanksgiving night. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. We still got plenty of football, and it certainly looks like this team's going to make the playoffs. So yeah, we'll have to see how everything goes from there. But this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It really has. All right. Vikings moved to 8-1, first place, running away with the NFC North. Huge. God, this might be the biggest road victory for the Vikings. I'd have to go back and look, but it's been a long time since they've had a road victory this significant.
It's a great point. Great point.
They beat an above 500 team on the road against a great quarterback, against a team that everybody thought or still thinks is going to be a Super Bowl contender. And the Minnesota Vikings went in and took care of business.
In crappy weather, too.
In crappy weather, outside in crappy weather.
One of the top 2 teams in the NFL that had a 27-10 lead in the third quarter, and the Vikings still figured it out.
And they figured it out.
Let that sink in.
They got the Dallas Cowboys at home next week. Drew and I will be back next Friday with Vikings Report with Drew and Ted. Drew, Chris, and I will be back next Sunday after the Minnesota Vikings hopefully move to 9-1 against the team America loves to hate, and my brother Travis's favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. Suck it, little brother. Yeah, baby. Congratulations to all our prize winners. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and joining us today. For Drew, for Chris, for Ruby, I'm Ted. SKOL Vikings.